Hey guys, what's going on? This is Brad from the Ad Army, and today this off the cuff is going to be a bit special because I'm actually going to locals at the moment. So right now I'm just in my car chilling out quick before I head in. Yeah, I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! As you can tell by the thumbnail, I have heroes. It's been a while since I've been to a locals, and for the most part, I wanted to kind of do a vlog type style video for something I've done. It's just I really don't have Digimon locals near me. It's easier to go to Yu-Gi-Oh! And I found one. I had time. I said, you know what? I haven't done it in a while. I'm just going to grab heroes and see how I do. My deck's been a little bit teched up, but it hasn't been completely broken out for the new format. So this is going to be interesting. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out to you guys, let you know. Shout out to Rogue Hero 2, by the way. He's one of the additional like inspirations for me to get better at playing the hero deck. So when this does go up on YouTube, because it will be going up as one of the videos for the 7-day celebration, I just wanted to let you guys know ahead of time that that's kind of the main goal I'm going with. And yeah, for the most part, just gonna get into it, and we'll see you in the next clip. So see you guys in a minute. Hey guys, what's going on? This is the recap after the tournament. So this is the next day. Yeah, I just didn't have enough time to do any recaps between rounds because I grinded out in almost all my games, which is probably a good sign that, I'm not completely rusty. And yeah, so we'll get started. Pretty much, the locals was cool. You'll see some pictures of stuff, just my hands in certain games. Game or match one, I ended up playing against Voiceless Voice. It was a 4-round tournament. I end up losing in this game. I goes all three though, so I win game one. My opponent went first. He bricks. I don't know that, so I think he's playing Labyrinth. So I'm playing really like carefully to just get rid of his cards slowly. I end up winning. We go to the second game. He ends up basically revealing that it's Voiceless Voice, and I'm like, okay, well, I didn't cite anything in for that, so I just kind of hope my deck can take it. I try breaking through his board. He has a full setup: Ceravis, Skull Guardian, the new dragon monster that like bounces itself back and then you summon out one from your hand or whatever. He had access to that too, so I was like, okay, I was kind of cooked, but I was able to fight through the board, but I just couldn't get through the radiance, and yeah, he beats me. We go to game three. As you could tell by my hand up board, I do make a gamble here. I decide to let him go second, to go first because he does side a ton of cards in. So I'm under the assumption if I just choose to let him go first, there's a chance he might brick, but also his cards that he sided in may be in his way of his plays, so that he'll have a subpar board or like a less strong board. That does backfire on me, obviously, because my hand was just not good as it should have been or could have been. So, pretty much my hand hurts me, and then he plays relatively well. He gets to like a pseudo setup board. I try to break it. I get into DPE. It's not enough. I kill Ceravis, and then I just wait for the next turn, and he OTKs me, and I'm like, well, okay. And we move out of that match into the second match. I end up playing against Fire Kings in round two. This guy was probably a newer player because he was playing only the structure deck cards. Really cool guy. We talk a little bit about other stuff, and his friend got the buy, so we were just kind of chatting in the round. He played really well. I think he's just a newer player, so he goes for the full standard Fire King lines. I get hand trapped a couple times in game one. I lose to just the standard setup because I just didn't have anything to come back with, and he does OTK me. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. We move into game two. I put up an okay first board. Interestingly enough, he does a weird play where he did kind of misplay. So he uses the Kieran to pop a card to summon itself. I think it was another Kieran. And then he goes Dark Hole. He wipes his whole board and then realizes he doesn't have any other play to go with. So he basically just ends his turn. So he has an open field. I just summon some monsters and attack for game. Moving into the third game, I do win this one off of droplets because I do know what his deck basically does now. So basically, I play into the board on purpose. So he goes for the Grunix, the Xyz one, and I just go droplets, negate its effects, and then he's stuck, and then I just OTK the board from there, and I do take that match. So yeah, very good. The guy's obviously, I think, a newer player, or he's just getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Because he was making solid plays. It's just the base Fire King structure is just like, it needs a bit more tweaking. But yeah, I think he played really well, and I'm not mad. Moving into rounds three and four, the only thing I'll say quick for rounds three and four, there were some ruling discrepancies, and then my round four opponent did some like, he's just not very, he wasn't like fully adept at playing the game, I could tell. And he made some plays that obviously would never happen, and then I kind of messed up too on my end because I was a bit tired or a lot like less focus here. So moving into round three, I ended up winning game one against Snake Eyes. My opponent did some, I wouldn't say weird, but he did some very different plays that I would expect from the deck. I'm assuming he may have bricked because he ends on this really weird looking board that has the Masquerade in the back, but didn't really have interaction for me. So he starts playing a lot on my turn, though, when he goes for the Masquerade play with the Flame Birch, summons Poplar and Ash, searches like a couple of cards, and then I'm like, okay. He goes for Promethean on his turn, which was weird because it doesn't do anything except if it's in the grave on my turn. I end up going for Malicious Bane, destroying his board, and I just OTK him from there because I was a little worried he had Nib. But yeah, I just OTK'd him, and then I'm assuming he bricked because he kind of alluded to it to someone else on the table, but I didn't know. And then yeah, basically I beat him. He says he brick, or he says he. I think he alludes to bricking, and then I just beat him. We move into game two. Basically, it ends up in a tie because of game two. The ruling discrepancy didn't matter as much for the time. It was more so just because of my opponent. He links into Tryhard, and basically he stalls him and myself out effectively. Like I said, I don't think he was trying to do anything for time. I'm just saying, like, his tryhard literally stopped the game from progressing because it was literally just me and him back and forthing, Malicious Bane popping his board, him summoning monsters. He finally goes into SP to get rid of Malicious Bane, tries to go for the OTK, and then ends in this weird situation where the judge ruled he couldn't attack for some reason. Maybe you guys could tell me maybe if he did something that locks him from attacking, but the judge basically said he couldn't attack when he summoned his monsters or something. I don't know why. It's just what he said. The discrepancy was the summoning back of monsters. So when he board wiped me, I summoned Escurito, and he also had Tryhard on field. So when Salantis effect, they also get banished, and then they come back. The judge told me that if he chooses to summon the monster back Escurito, I can't summon back Escurito, obviously, because the effect banishes it, and it can only be fusion summoned. However, when I asked him about the Tryhard, he said the Tryhard could come back, even though they're both worded the same way, where they must be either fusioned or link summoned. So I told him, is that not the same thing? And he said no. And I said, but the card would say must first be, because I have cards that say they must first be something summoned first, which obviously alludes to them coming back and being able to be summoned. Not every card has to do that, obviously, but some make it specifically clear that when they say must be specifically either linked or fusioned or whatever synchroed, it means that they have to be used through their mechanic only. So maybe you can let me know, but yeah, that ends up basically stalling out time. We basically end up in a situation where he does win game two, but by the time we side for game three, there was no time left, and it ends in a draw. Moving into game four, or match four, my opponent was definitely a newer player. He made some like really weird interaction plays with cards because he just didn't know. So the one that was probably the one that stuck out the most was in game one. He has actually a pretty commanding lead because he's playing Snake Eyes, but he does this situation where I do use a monster effect because I end up using during the battle phase, the start of the battle phase, I go on favorite contact, and then he's like, okay, I go ahead and summon out Infernal Flame Wingman or Infernal Rage. I get back my favorite contact, and then my opponent immediately drops a Talents on me, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Okay, I just assumed maybe he had went into main phase two, and then he tries to attack me, and I said, so are you not in battle phase? He said, I am, and I was like, no, you can't be if you're using this. I said, this is a normal spell, and I said I would have had to use I did use a monster effect in main phase one, so it would be legal, but the point was he did that, and I was like, yeah, but you can't do that now. Basically, we talk a while because I had to explain it to him, and then by the time I realize it, I forget. I let him take control of my Infernal Flame Wingman, and he still attacks me, and I just kind of like mind blank because I was too busy explaining before what happened. I scoop up my cards, and I'm like, well, I already scooped them up because I put back my cards, and I was like, oh, should have stopped them. I said, whatever, we'll just go into game two. He beats me, I bricked, and pretty much that ends that. Like, I'm not mad at that opponent, by the way. I'm just saying he's a newer player, so I'm cutting him some slack for sure because he is learning the game. He didn't like say it exactly, but I know he is because one of his other like friends he came with was trying to tell him like, oh, you can't do that, you can't do this. So I could understand he was learning, and I was like, whatever, it's not a big deal to me anyways. Like I just tried to help him out there, so he'll probably figure it out next time. But yeah, I went 1-2-1 or 1-1-1-1-2, and yeah, I'm not mad. It's my first time back, and I'm just happy I took a game. And all my games basically went into game three, except for the last round. And the last round was just more of like, well, the first game it would have definitely I would have come back and won that game in that match because I did have good starters. It was just I messed up, And yeah, so I take that, and yeah, it was solid, and I had a great time at the locals. So I'm going to transition into the deck list that you guys are going to see for heroes. So let's move over to that. So guys, we're going to move into the deck profile, and we're going to start off quick. So we have triple Stratos, and then we have the rest of my EU heroes. I'm running 7. So we have one Honest Neos, one Elemental Hero Neos, one Liquid Soldier, and one Shadow Mist. I'm only running 7. I think playing triple Stratos is the right ratio in my opinion, because no matter what, as long as you open Stratos, you're guaranteed to do something. I think it's really bad when you don't have Stratos, because you're not really doing anything, and you do need access to him when you can. The other heroes that I have down here are important, but Stratos is basically the one that can always give us something, because you get a search, you could do something. All the other ones, unfortunately, don't really do too much without proper setup. So that's kind of the reason why you have to play him. He's probably your best starter, because he does get you any hero monster, so it makes it hard to not play him. And he's not a hard once per turn, so yeah, you just want to play him. Elemental Hero Stratos, solid. Both we have Liquid Soldier and Shadow Mist. Both of them do different things, but they're all mandatory. You can bump up the ratios if you want, but I think one is better, because you're usually using Shadow Mist now to search. You never really summon it. You only summon it if you have like a nuts hand and you have a hero lives usually, so you summon it that way. Liquid Soldier is really good because you draw 2 and discard 1, so you use him for your combos, and since he's a water, he's your access to absolute 0. Neos as well as Honest Neos are very good. Honest Neos is just there for OTKs, as well as being another target for Fusion Destiny if you need. Same thing for Elemental Hero Neos, but Elemental Hero Neos is more so for your Infernal Flame Wingman plays. Didn't have to use it. I didn't draw Neos, but I wouldn't have been mad if I did draw it. So yeah, basically not complaining, but solid lineup. Pretty much Stratos was the MVP in my opinion. I think this card just like helps you win games, because it's just so impactful if it resolves. Because usually if your hand's mid, he fixes that, and if it's bad, he'll still fix it. So yeah. Moving into our Vision heroes very fast. Ferris, triple, 2 Vion, and the 2 increase. These are standard. Pretty much the one thing most people forget to do is negate the Vion. If they negate the Vion and you don't have Poly, it's really hard to continue playing. If they don't do that and you get the Poly, you're pretty much safe for a good amount of your plays. Play 2 increase, never play 1. There was many times I drew the first one, and the biggest reason you now have to basically play 2 is usually going to have to deal with a copy of Bestials, because they'll just get rid of your 1, and then if you go into grind games, you need the 2 increase. They are hard to pass up. So pretty much you do play those ratios there. They worked well for me, and I opened Ferris a few times, so it wasn't bad. So the less you have to search it, the better. And now we're moving into the Destiny heroes. Not much of them. To Mali, the 1 Plasma, the 1 Denier, and the 1 Celestial. So effectively playing 5. You don't need to play more if you don't want to. Quick discussion on the third Mali. I know it's legal, but I decided not to play it because I didn't really miss it. I only missed it like a few times, but at this point, it's like I just need to test a little bit more to see, because I liked it at 2. I don't like breaking on Mali because I did that before when it was at 3. So, you do have to kind of figure out that flow. And I did like playing 2, so I didn't get mad. Plasma, never summoned him, but he did come up. He would have won me a game, so it makes me think that maybe I should keep Plasma in my hand more if I do see it, because he can just win the game on its own. Denier is just really insane, because restacking your Mali just helps out so much in grind games, because your opponent isn't expecting it if you haven't used it and they're not accustomed to playing heroes. And then Celestial is here mostly because I like to have at least 4 or 5 combinations to get into Fusion Destiny. So I had to play at least a 5th Destiny hero, and I decided on Celestial because he does have some utility if I have to normal summon him and pop like a field spell or something. So, that's just my reason. I play 5 because the Destiny heroes are good, but you're not really wanting to play too many. The last 2 monsters really quickly. Crosskeeper and then a Dusted Gold. So Crosskeeper was really good. I only used him once. I didn't really want to see him unless I had to search him with like Rhoda, but otherwise he just stayed in my deck. Solid card to play at 1. You can play multiple, but I think only in like an E-hero based deck you'll get the most value out of him. So he comes up a couple times. Dusted Gold was the MVP in my opinion of this day. No one negated him, and they really should have. One time I searched him. They drolled me. I was still able to win that game and go into a dusted malicious bane later on. So this card's really good. He's broken in my opinion because if you draw the Dark Calling, it sucks. But because he's still a hero monster, you're basically able to play through a lot of disruptions because you just fuse him off for like Sunriser or something like that, and then there you go. You usually have set up to go into the malicious bane. So yeah, you could choose to hate on it or not. If you don't like it, it's not really my preference for you to mandatorily play it. I played it and I just loved it because this locals, it was tearing people apart because they just were not prepared to deal with it. And yeah, moving on to my consistency pieces that I think are the best pieces of the deck. Triple Hero Lives with one E-Call and the one Rhoda. Pretty much this one was just standard. I don't really think there was anything here that I need to talk about. It's just really the way to go. This card, A Hero Lives, is just insane because if you see it and you start with it, half your life points is nothing if you win the game. So there you go. E-Call, another hero, and then Rhoda is basically just another E-Call, but a little bit better because sometimes you want to grab something like your Destiny heroes to start like a fusion play. So like maybe you just want to grab Celestial or something. Didn't have to do that. Okay, moving to fusion spells. Arguably the best one is Fusion Destiny. Polymerization, I played two. One Miracle, and then obviously the contentious Dark Calling that you have to play. Triple Fusion Destiny, mandatory as anything. I don't think you can play without three. You have to play three. It's just solid. It gets you plays. It lets you play through Nibiru if you have it. And there are times that you just drop it and you can start your whole turn with a dark board. So it's not bad. Miracle Fusion, mandatory obviously for Sunriser. Just really good. You can set it back with Wonder Driver. I play two Poly because if you only play one and you lose it and you have no access back to it, it is a very hard game to grind back out of. I like playing two because if I hard open it and I use my hand, I'm really solid and I'm winning there. So there is that. And then the one Dark Calling, you have to play it for the Malicious Bane engine. So yeah, you play it. It is technically a brick, but sometimes it's not if you draw some combination to get a Dusted Gold in the grave. That's the only time it's a brick is if you can't get in the grave. Really quickly, triple mash change, triple droplets, and then the one favorite contact and one foolish. These two are effectively just here as additional cards. So Foolish Burials and starter technically if you want to just send Shadow Mist and Search, as well as sending Mally if you need to in combo, so you don't have any way to do it. You don't have to waste cards. Favorite Contact is here as your way to basically cap off your combos. So you shuffle back cards, summon other elemental heroes out. So which is really, really solid by putting materials back on the bottom of your deck. Droplets help me win games, and effectively Mass Change is just here to dodge attacks and finish people off. And then that's pretty much it for the spell, trap, and the main deck. We said 41 cards, guys. Nothing too crazy here. Yeah, just solid. Like a very solid thing. And we will quickly go through each. Funny enough, I barely sided, so I will show my side deck, but it'll be like really quickly when I get to it. We'll move into the extra deck right now. Like I said, I barely sided in this tournament because I tried to run through people with just my main deck. Lynx, double, Cross Crusader, and the one Wonder Driver. Really quickly, I play double Cross because it's really good. I'm going to tweak my deck a little bit because my extra deck might change a lot. But yeah, double of the Cross because in later games, if you're able to make the Cross Crusader, it just does so much utility. It just does a lot. Wonder Driver is here for the main combos, and then resetting your Miracles or your Polys. Mash Changes too if you need to is just too good. And a lot of times people are like, wait, what do you do? And then they see you reset it. They're like, oh, okay. So yeah. And you can discard cards. Sometimes summon it, go into another card, make it, and then bring back the card you discarded. So, you can do that. For the Elemental Hero Fusions, because there is a few, because I'm playing a good amount. We have the first three here, which is Absolute Zero, Escurito, and Sunrise. And to combine it together, obviously, to cap up, is the Elemental Hero Infernal Rage, the Flame Wingman. Sunriser is here for Miracle. Escurito is here for being a dark monster. We also have an advantage in Absolute Zero being a board wipe and can be aggressive if it needs to be. And Infernal Rage does allow you to technically go into some of your other fusions through its effect if you use Neos as a material with it. So that's kind of the reason I play this. Basically, all these are standard, I think, because you play some number. Escurito is probably the only one you think of maybe taking out because I played it. It comes up because it's just another dark hero monster you can make. So, makes your Miracle Fusion's better. And then moving into one of my technical hero monsters, in my opinion, or elemental heroes, is Wake Up Your Elemental Hero. I did not make this at all. I probably should have at least once, but usually when I miracled, I was winning the game, so I didn't need to make it. It's just really good. I just haven't made this yet, so pretty much just telling you guys that because that's the truth. I just did chose not to make it. Um, Moving into my Destiny Hero package, because I'm running 3 cards, which is kind of weird. I am running 1 copy of Dangerous and 2 DPEs. So my thoughts behind 2 DPEs and the one Dangerous is simple. Dangerous is only made when you need to push for game or you're in a really bad position with Fusion Destiny and you want to make a slightly bigger board. You use Dangerous to send Shadow Mist because it does send so you send a Destiny hero. Well, you send a Destiny hero and you discard a card. So not Shadow Mist, but you're going to use it to send and discard cards. So it really does allow you to kind of proc other plays and extend because it does let you bring Mally from the deck. So if you bring out something like Dangerous, you might be going for like a Plasma play where you send the Shadow Mist. Oh, not Shadow Mist. You send the Malicious, so you have access to that alongside with your Denier. So now you have set up for that, and you probably want to go for a Plasma play that way. I play 2 DPEs because if they out one, because it does happen a lot, I'd rather have the ability to go into a second one because then they're in a lot of trouble if they can't out the second one. Because at that point, if you get both out on the field, it's just kind of hilarious. I haven't done it yet, but it's come up where they get rid of one and then I go for Fusion Destiny. They think I'm going to summon like Dangerous or something, and I summon another one, and they're like, oh. So yeah, playing 2 is just really good. I like 2. Yeah, like I said, you can mess around with that, but I like playing 2. Then for my masked heroes, really quick, the 1 Blast and the 2 Dark Law. I made Dark Law like twice, I think, and it was really okay. Like I said, a lot of times I didn't need to make Dark Law as much because I was already winning the game before I made it. So I think going first, if I don't see match change, I don't make it as much. But I play 2 because people will prioritize and getting rid of it first. So yeah, playing 2 is fine. Blast comes up a lot because this is usually what you do is you dodge your hand traps with the mass change, and it forces your opponent to have to deal with your board more. So you basically just say, oh, they go for imperm, mass change, blast, and then they're stuck. So pretty much that's that. And then finally, the last card, which was the MVP in my opinion for my Shure deck this time, was Malicious Bane. So a lot of people hate this card. Some people love this card. This was a format, at least so far when I played at locals, just as locals was actually really good for me. I think it was because people did not target it down effectively. Because one thing I realized is when this card came out, I basically forced my opponents to either go for SP or not have it. So some people had SP, some people didn't, or some people just didn't know how to get rid of this thing. I had people try to blow up Malicious Bane, which was hilarious because I'm like, oh, did you not read it? I was like, you can read my cards. Because a lot of people, if you don't know, this is just me. I'll always prioritize if you need to read anything, just let me know. I'll slide it right over to you, or you can just grab it. It's fine. No one wanted to read Malicious Bane for some reason, and I didn't know why because a lot of times people start popping it, and if they just read it, they would have realized they can't pop it. Yeah, just solid. This card blows up boards, gains attack, can't be short about card effects. So effectively, you just destroy people's boards with this thing and finish them, or they have to be stuck dealing with him, and Malicious Bane just can carry you in games. So really quickly, we'll go over the side, but the side isn't anything important because I barely sided. So we'll start off with just the first 4 cards. 1 Dark Angel and the triple Dark Ruler No More. Didn't even side them in. I would have brought a Dark Angel had I decided to side and go first a lot of times. I just decided not to do it because if I draw a Dark Angel without like Poly or Fusion Destiny available, I don't want to do it. And also it depends on the matchup. The only time I thought it was mandatory to bring it in was against Voiceless Voice, and I didn't bring it in game 3, so that was my fault. But pretty much, it's a good card. I just didn't bring it in. I did side in my Cosmic Cyclones in that matchup. These were the only ones I actually decided to side in. So if you're wondering if I sided in for these, I took out Neos, Favorite Contact, and what's the last card? And I think Crosskeeper. So I just took those 3 out and sided in the 3 Cosmics because I wanted to snipe the guy's cards if he had them. Because I know since they're continuous spells, he does get to place them, but that does not mean he gets to trigger their effects immediately. So you just snipe them off, and then the protection's gone. Feather Duster, I should have probably sided in against Voiceless Voice, chose not to. I am running triple imperm as like my only hand trap. As you tell, I wasn't playing any hand traps at all. So I was basically just rushing people down with my board and breaking through their boards to just like take them down with engine. And then finally, my last couple cards. I did take out one of my Lightning Storms right now, so it's in another deck. There's Change of Heart, Lightning Storm, and the copy of Dystopia. Dystopia is insane. I did try to side it in the game 3 that I was talking about that we finally got to with the Snake Eyes player. I was trying to hopefully summon it to burn him because we didn't have a lot of time left. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have to burn for a game. I know it's a scummy way to win, but it was the only way because I was gonna be choosing to go first anyways. So I did have access to that. Lightning Storm is pretty strong. I got okay. This is like I got hit with Change of Heart, and my opponent took Malicious Bane. He attacks with the Malicious Bane, and then I dropped Honest Neos in order to stop him. So that did happen. It was hilarious.
And that was it, guys. Yeah, pretty much that was everything that deck list. The experience is really good. I've been to locals in so long. I'll probably try to do more content like this if you guys like, as this will be going up on Rumble and obviously for the celebration, so you guys will see it both times. I just had a really good time playing Yu-Gi-Oh! It's been a long time since I've like just sat down against people I don't know and kind of just went through that locals grind again. So it was cool feeling that out and being in a kind of a new community because I didn't really know any of the people there personally. So it was a win-win. Pretty much, I just wanted to put out there that this was fun. It was a good time. I will go back to that locals because it was a positive experience. And yeah, for the most part, I'm just trying to get better. I'm trying to get back into the game to a degree because I've been looking from the outside in type of stuff from a lot of my other content, and I just haven't had a chance to get back in. So this was my way to jump back in, and I do hope you guys like it. So obviously, we're gonna move on to the next couple days of the celebration. But as always, this is Brad from the Ed Army signing off, and for all of you out there to sign on.